in the head-to-heads, 9 wins to 3. So, the venue Cymru is ready. In the commentary box, Neil Folds and Clive Everton are all set for the opening exchanges. But first, to introduce the players, our MC, John McDonald.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the venue Cymru here in Llandudno. 16 of the very best players in the world assembled to lift this coveted title, and now there is 2. Ladies and gentlemen, World Snooker proudly present the Ladbrokes Players' Championship Finals. All coming to you live on ITV Sport as we welcome the millions of viewers joining us around the world. Our referee, Jan Shears, is set up and ready to go. It's time now to meet the finalists. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the inaugural Players' Champion and the 2005 Champion of the World, the Magician, Shaun Murphy! Now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the winner of 32 ranking events, the 5-time champion of the world, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan!
He's the greatest player we've ever seen. But it's on the day that counts. And back in November, at the Champion of Champions, it was Murphy's day. If he can play to the same standard that he produced in last night's semi-final against Mark Williams, it could be his day again. He could be the one holding up the Players' Championship trophy this evening.
So boys, for the toss, tails, it's tails. 9 in the first, and then possibly 10. First frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Ronnie just double checking with referee Jan Shears as to how many frames being played this afternoon. It's 9, as you heard, followed by the 10 tonight, a maximum of 10 if we need them all.
Whereas O'Sullivan had 40 minutes on the practice table, Murphy contented himself with a mere 10, just strolled in, quarter of an hour before the start, and decided that was enough for him. As it was yesterday, didn't do him any harm. He made 133 first shot. I think some door or other is open in the player's line of vision. Still, this capacity crowd won't mind waiting a few seconds longer. Well, whatever it was that was delaying the action, it's been fixed.
Foul.
Well, the worst thing about that
Sullivan.
shot was not the in-off, it was where the red that he missed finished up. I mean, if it stays at this end of the table, he's done no damage, but he has done damage. It's gone close to the middle bag, and as you can see, O'Sullivan is in hand.
One. Six. Seven.
Well, immediately looking at getting into the bunch, doing what he does best, getting scoring early. There is one red that is potable, that one that he's finished perfectly in behind. Touch of running side on that little shot on the black there to get
14.
the correct side of the table. I'm going to disturb reds here.
$15.
Found a way of landing on the pink, which may not have been initially the plan. And he could be away here. Well, he could have played that just to make sure of the blue and play on the red in the middle of
20.
the table. But he wanted to get himself over again to the right. He's got an option of the red at the bottom of the bunch or the one to the middle. Options are plenty.
$21.
Don't know whether that red two or right next to the pink pots to the left corner, because that would be one way of tidying up that part of the table. I think it does go, looking at one or two angles. And I can see the reason he would want to play that.
26. $27.
And again, that's cue ball is under control. There have been spells this week where his cue ball
34.
control has not been as immaculate as it usually is. He's just often potted his way through breaks. Once again, just drifting
35.
a little bit out of position there. Maybe a little amount of tension in his arm. You can understand why. Big occasion. It's now a difficult one. Pot and position.
Not too surprised that he missed that.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 35.
If it had just been a question of potting it, there would have been no problem, but he had to strike downwards to try and get some backspin.
One.
Now, if that red hadn't have covered the one to the right corner, he
8.
would have been really in a good position here. It's a little tricky now. He has got pots on, but none of them are exactly how he'd like them. Red to the middle, uncomfortably close cue ball and object ball here. Caused him no problem.
No.
What a chance.
For a deadly counter-attack. None of the remaining balls is in an apparently safe position.
I think we can anticipate a very attractive match between these two, their general style of play. You saw him stretch
15.
over there and have one or two twinges in his shoulder, perhaps in his neck, that's been bothering him all week. Can't honestly say it's
16.
affected the standard of play, though. It's played very well, actually. He certainly mentioned that he has to play the balls in front of him. And I think against O'Sullivan that's very
23.
important, because if you play the man with all his abilities, it really can make you feel a little bit as if you're out of your league. I mean, that even as someone as good
24.
as Sean might be feeling that.
I think that's a problem that Murphy suffered from in their earlier matches. I think he's more or less got over it now. He realises that he himself
31.
is a great player. And on his day,
32.
quite capable of beating O'Sullivan.
Well,
39.
he hits the ball wonderfully well. Cue
40.
action that any player would be happy to have.
$46. $47.
Now, obviously he can just stun her right up for the red that's left of the pink. I think that's what he'll do here. Any conceivable problem is the other red. Of course, he's not near a cushion, but he's still got to land in behind the red to probably the left middle. Still got to be done.
53.
So one more positional shot required. And he should be able to do it here. Doesn't want to fall in between it, leaving himself on the red to the middle or the corner, which can happen. Deciding to go that way. I'm a little surprised he's played that. This now becomes a shot that could go
61.
wrong. The fact that he's played on it into the corner. Very nice. Very nice. This is just what he needed. He let O'Sullivan in. He didn't, for once, win the frame in one scoring visit. And now
66.
Sean Murphy punishes him. Snooker's required.
68.
Won't get a chance to play them either.
O'Sullivan was first in with 35, but left himself too straight and too near a cushion for a black.
71.
He rattled in the jaws, and Murphy has made this immaculate frame-winning clearance.
75. $80.
The way that Murphy has taken this frame-winning opportunity, pretty reminiscent of his start against Mark Williams last evening, when he went to 3-0 with 2 centuries and a 70 clearance to win
86.
on the black. Sean Murphy clears up with 93 and leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by a frame to 0.
Sean Murphy to break.
The Players' Championship trophy in the foreground there. Murphy won the inaugural Players' Championship in 2011 when it had a somewhat different format.
One.
Well, that is a terrific pot, and that's almost a carbon copy of the shot that Murphy, of course, got wrong and went in off in the previous frame. Played to perfection this time by O'Sullivan. Well, he's been sent a message already from his opponent that he's playing well.
8.
He's cueing beautifully, and now he has to respond himself.
9.
He will screw into the bunch here in some way. He would, I think, like to have been marginally straighter on this to really get into them how he would have liked. It's hard for him to hit the left side of the pack because he's just got too much angle. That's probably as good as he could have hoped for, and that is bitterly disappointing and unlucky.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 9. Sean Murphy 7.
Particularly as he's left Murphy right in.
Yes, seeing that again, I don't see how he could have foreseen that happening. Very early stages in a pretty long match, but and Murphy has settled into it better.
One.
No doubt about that. I think we all know that he will be as aware as anybody that you can't let O'Sullivan get off to a start and start romping away with a match.
Three. Can we silence the devices, please? Four.
Well, he has always made those sort of shots look very, very easy. Those mid-range, just pumps them in. And that's also a very good shot. Banana the cue ball around. It looked like it was going to just miss them all, but it arced into the top
11.
of the bunch there. He got a little fortunate, but he played it well.
Twelve. $18. $19. $26.
Whether or not this turns into a frame-winning contribution will depend on how he develops the cluster.
Yes, and he's a bit straight on this. Of course, with the blue away from its spot, it's going to power the cue ball back up the table.
27.
Played it well though, didn't he? Again for the blue. To a corner bag, back on its own spot now. And like you say, Clive, it appears it's all about those 5 reds grouped together and how he opens them up.
32.
Certainly better
33.
from the black to get into the bottom 3. Almost impossible from in behind the blue. That's why he played it that way. Might just played a glance at 3 reds, and if he misses them, he's always got the red on the left as backup. Well, he's on the red anyhow. Problem is still there.
40. $41.
This is probably the biggest shot of the frame so far, the next one. Well, you'd fancy him for this shot, but there is, of course,
48.
quite a lot on it, a lot riding on it, which makes, of course, its own problems and his own pressure. But he's usually very good at these mid-range shots, as I mentioned.
Well, Murphy's potting at middle and
From
long
Murphy,
distance has
48.
been so deadly. It was a surprise that he missed that.
An amazing game, isn't it? Just you knew there was something riding on it, more so than usual. A lead of 46 points is all well and good, but with the balls in the middle of the table, the next mistake is probably going to cost either player the frame. That's an immaculate O'Sullivan safety. And this frame might just be on the brink of turning again in that man's favour.
O'Sullivan was very unlucky to give Murphy the opening for his break. Potted the black, went into the bunch, and a red fell unpredictably into a middle pocket.
This is a real headache because he could play off the bottom cushion and try to glance the 3 reds, but if he got it wrong, do all sorts of damage. And laying onto them from the side rail, well, it's not a particularly wide target. A target that wasn't wide enough for him anyway.
Foul. And a
I
miss.
wonder if that's a free ball.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Worth a look.
Must be able to hit both edges of a red or combination of reds.
Well, the one,
I think it's free ball.
yes, I think that it's the one by the pink that's the one that I think Ronnie is not sure it is a free ball. I think it is. I think Jan Shears is right.
Maybe it's a second opinion from someone else. I'm not sure. It's
No, you can't have any
Huh?
second opinion. Which one do you think you can hit?
no, not this one.
No, because the pink is too wide. It's too far in front. You can't hit the edge on the
I
left.
think Jan Shears is right. I think it's a free ball.
I'm not sure.
Ronnie not doing himself any favours here. He's just doing what he thinks is right, isn't he, Clive?
You can't
Well,
hit
he's
the
got a
edge.
highly developed sense of fair play. And arguing against his own interest, you would think. Bit of a contrast with all the divers in football.
This is probably the most these two have ever spoken.
What do you think? It's a free ball or not?
Yeah, it's a free ball. The definitely is a free ball. No problem.
I'll take the blue, yeah.
Blue ball? The blue ball?
So blue is his extra red.
I think everything was correct there. Ronnie was right to query it if he wasn't sure, but I think Jan Shear's got the right call.
Five. Six.
So a chance for a winning clearance for O'Sullivan.
Better shot than it looked, Clive, wasn't
12.
it? He would just roll it in. He sort of half stunned that, queuing over the ball.
13.
Even though it's a long match, it kind of feels important that he does do it for his chances. I mentioned his cue ball has just been a little short
20.
of where he wants to be on a number of occasions. There's another example of it. It's okay though, up for the blue.
One.
That's a little short as well.
26.
Should still be all right though.
Well, if that little speck of dirt or dust on the red, as he pointed to the potting angle, would have caused him a kick, then of course he'd done the right thing to get in first. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like his bridging, whether he bridges from the cushion or hand on table. He's gone for the long bridge.
27.
Slightly better shot than it looked again. And really, this is the key shot, in behind the red, and he's a very strong favourite to win frame two.
Inch perfect.
Yes, and he'll be happy enough to play on a lowish value colour here. Anything that's near the yellow. That's why he's played on the green.
31.
Well, it's been already a very gripping first two frames in what could be an absolute classic of a
34.
match today between these two.
$36. $39. $43.
Murphy was the better part of 40 in front when he missed a middle distance red.
$48.
Well, he doesn't need the black, and it's just as well, because he would hate to have to go around the table. This is frame ball.
64.
And with an immaculately taken 55 to the pin. Ronnie O'Sullivan equalises at 1-all.
Three. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
One all then.
Sean just looking up at one or two people just returning to their seats. He's probably just going to wait until it all happens before he plays his next shot, and it has. Everyone's settled in nicely. There's two of those he's missed. Missed one at the start of the match. And he's not got the cue ball very far up the table either, which was part of the plan. Not an easy starter, because you can't really play on the black, which means you can't roll it in.
One.
But that'll do it. It's very fine pot and position there.
Six.
Well, he's not straight, which is the good news for Ronnie.
Seven. Fourteen. 15.
Possibly into the bunch while retaining position on the red, which is already loose. Just concentrated on the loose red.
Yes, he might have thought he would just glance off them and go up the table, but it
22.
means that the next time is his last chance to get the bunch open. He's normally very, very good.
23.
And of course, once already in this match, he's gone into them and knocked a red in, which is, you're always going to be unlucky when that happens. That's just a beautiful shot. What is he on? Yeah. A slow walk around the table
30.
says nothing easy. Deserved better, that shot.
For all the player's skill, you have to rely on a favourable run of the ball with that type of shot.
Yes, the red he's playing to the middle. He's got to thread the cue ball round behind the black and onto it.
Didn't expect him to miss it.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 30.
Yes, he was a little unfortunate on the previous shot. But it's mistake followed by immediate chance. That's the story of the first 2 and a bit frames. Hardly any safety.
One.
There was one important safety shot which eventually won Ronnie O'Sullivan the previous frame, but nothing much else. It's pot after pot. Punch and counter punch.
Six. Seven. Nine. 10. $16. $17.
Now the three reds, a small little pyramid, the red below
24.
them will pot. It will certainly disturb those three reds here.
25.
Opening up into a really good chance of his own. Well, he certainly looked at the left-hand red. It was always going to be there for him, but again, it's not simple. Pot or position.
$33. $40. $41.
Well, if he's playing on that red, he's got to be quite precise with the cue ball here. The one that he looked at there, the one close to the pink. Decided against it, but maybe he's thinking about it for the next red that he takes
48.
after this one. Still got the problem of the two reds that are not really available in many pockets. Can't win the frame without them.
49.
This angle gives him not that many options here. It's got to be perfect little stun shot. If he's held the spot, can he pot the red? I don't think so. I think it'll go in front of the cue ball. And that was always going to be the problem with this. Surely if this goes as close to the cue ball, that red won't be on.
He needed to stun through another inch so that the pink would go back on its own spot.
55.
Yes, that's why he stayed down. He knew his fate there. Being straight on the pink was no good to him.
John Murphy, 55.
Into the lead by 25, but
Touching ball.
not the frame winner he was hoping for.
No, Clive, and touching ball means Ronnie could get him in all kinds here. Could be in big trouble. And the advantages of 25 points is negligible, really. With O'Sullivan ahead in the sort of state of the safety. Didn't need a second invitation to make it tough. Murphy can get to the right-hand red to play up and down into Bolt, but he has to be very careful where the reds finish.
Murphy will be very happy with that.
Yes, he will. Great shot, and Ronnie tapped the table, acknowledging that shot. Murphy's safety, I think, has improved a lot this season. Playing the two-cushion glance. Tough shot.
Foul. And a miss. John Murphy 4.
There's an argument that he could play from here, actually, because the thin safety from the red where it's placed is not nice. He's gone with having it put back. It was a 50-50 call, I think, because I think Ronnie will end up getting this shot, making the adjustment. Obviously very important that the cue ball is back exactly where it was, so he can make the adjustment.
Foul. And a miss. John Murphy 4.
Yeah, so this time Ronnie is not leaving his stance, and that kind of helps him to get a real idea of what he's got to do. Sean had every right to come to the table there and have another look and make Ronnie sit down and start afresh. He might have wanted to do that.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because Ronnie is locked in the position he was from the previous shot. I think I'd have made him sit down and pretend that I was going to play from where the balls lie.
Third attempt, also unsuccessful.
Well, he can afford to do it
And a miss.
at this stage.
John Murphy 4.
Free ball
Free ball.
won't be taken, I don't think. I can't see any value. Ronnie will keep playing this shot, but of course at this stage he can still win the frame. If he misses 2 or 3 more times, he might have to think of something different. He's worried about hitting it full on, obviously, and that will cost him the frame anyway. That's why he's going for the thin two-cushion. I think that demonstrates why the misroll is what it is. And it had to keep getting put back. And now Ronnie's back in the frame.
Yes, in the dim and distant days before the misrule was applied in its current form, you very often saw players making a plausible attempt with no great intention of actually escaping from the snooker.
Yes, I mean, it was called a deliberate miss because in those days players were deliberately missing. Simple as that. Because the 4 points were better than all the damage they would cause if they played it and hit one. His biggest worry here is he's got a clear shot at the only safe ball on the table. He doesn't want to play this red.
Because he's 37 in front. attempted the glancing escape, but that wasn't a glance.
Now he could have done with going the way that Ronnie did, missing it. Just trying to get there in the end, maybe second or third attempt. Anything but what he did do.
One.
You would think that the red that is on the black cushion is going to decide the outcome of this frame.
7. 8.
Yes, Clive, and if he could land nicely and behind it, it would make the shot a lot easier to roll in. And that looks to be as good as you could hope for. No obvious pace needed. It give the pocket
15.
every chance to accept the ball. And just drop out with the black.
16.
Fascinating. That's a good play, this. Some oohs and ahs, but I think he was in more
23.
control of that shot than it may have appeared.
$25. $28.
Just checking, he will need the lot. He'll only be 6 in front on the pink when he pots it.
32.
And this will count as a real steal
37.
for O'Sullivan. In some ways, the previous frame was as well.
43.
And with that victory clearance, Ronnie O'Sullivan wins the frame on the black and leads Sean Murphy by 2 frames to 1.
24. Sean Murphy to break.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan opens the 4th frame, 2-1 in front. I think O'Sullivan believed that he wasn't going to leave any other red if he missed the one he attempted. But I'm not entirely sure about that. Red goes to right middle.
1.
Quite amazing that there was a gap there at all. Ronnie didn't have any clue that that red was going to be available, I don't think. Oh dear.
Gross
Tom, if you
unforced
want.
error.
Yeah, I think he was thinking a lot about going in to the bunch and exactly how he was going to execute that part of it, and forgot the main bit, the pot in the first place on the black. And he's looking at this plant. I think this is tough. He's got to cut the first red thin onto the second one, and the whole thing is very close up. And this looks a very difficult shot to me. Played it well.
One.
Both players on 93% pot success rate. But some pots and some missed pots are more important than others.
8.
O'Sullivan
9.
intent on converting Murphy's error into a serious mistake.
$16. $17.
That's a better shot than it looked to get onto that red, through the gap between the
24.
bunch and the red itself. Oh dear, a little bit of a slide there, could have done himself a mischief. That'll be an unusual way of playing it, putting an extension on there and playing it without the rest, but now he's back to that. It's not really the red that's the problem here, it's getting onto a colour to get the bunch opened up.
$25.
And this is, I think, the key shot potentially in the whole frame. I think he played on the black, but he looked at the pink briefly. This is the one. Not had the best of luck when he has gone into them in this
32.
match.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 32.
So have to resort to safety.
Oh, I think he's looked at this as a possible shot to nothing.
Well, he hit that all wrong.
It was a difficult shot, but when you hit the wrong side of them, it's always a slightly uncomfortable feeling.
No attempt at the pot. Concentrated on a good safety.
Yes, and it's pretty good now that the blacks come out to the right of the table. On his thin safety, he'd be worried about that shot because he could go into the black off the right hand side of the bunch, so he's trying to bury the cue all into them now. Well, ideally, you want to be eyeing up the in behind yellow and brown, covering a reasonably sized target in the middle of bulk there. And that's exactly what he's played. It's a beautiful shot. Cuts off the left-hand side of the table completely. And there's not a great deal on the right side that Murphy will be interested in either.
The red on the right is too close to the side cushion to make the crossover safety feasible.
I think he's left with the two reds down the table below the black spot, the right red. Trying to get the cue ball in behind that, I believe, is his only shot here. And it's not much of a shot either. Audience very engrossed in this first 3.5 frames. Been really good snooker.
Yes, a mixture. It hasn't all been breaks. There's been some exceptionally good tactical play.
Well, he's playing up and down onto the red on the cushion here. And that is worked out horribly. Goodness me.
Foul.
It's,
And a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
not many ways to describe this shot. All I know is the cue ball checked alarmingly from the bottom cushion. You saw the rest. It couldn't hardly have worked out any worse.
Well, at the very least, he should have hit the red that he was aiming for on the right side cushion.
1. Eight.
Well, the red is quite tight. It only just passes.
Nine.
You mustn't play a shot in frustration here. He's still 46 in front. He mustn't leave the last shot in his mind. And I think that's exactly what he did. I don't think he had to play it.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9.
Well, he was very disappointed to lose position, but even leading by 46, that was a pretty rash shot. Gives Murphy a chance for an immediate reply.
Doesn't really suit O'Sullivan to play that way, does it? He's not massively keen on having 3 or 4 chances in a frame and needing them all to get over the line. Forced it a bit there, I think.
1.
Yes, Murphy hasn't earned this chance. It's been given to him. This time it's Murphy's turn to be unlucky with a split.
8.
Yes, very much so. And doesn't have a lot of options here either. What does he do? Just touch into the couple of reds. Ronnie, of course, wouldn't
John Murphy, 8.
have any interest in a re-rack in a few shots' time with his lead of 38 points.
without touching.
Touching both reds, I think I heard Jan Shears say.
Well, I suppose if he's got no other shot, he could have a dart at one of these reds to the middle pocket. By no means easy. If you haven't got a safety shot, I guess it's worth having a go. He's left nothing easy to start with either. This is awkward with the blue there. This is a missable shot now. Close to a waistcoat foul as well. Great shot. Now that really was good, I think. There were lots of reasons why he could have missed that. And with his few point advantage, two reds in the middle of the table, he's away and gone.
8. 9. $16.
Well, red high value colour, but I think red colour red is what he's aiming for, which will certainly seal this fourth frame.
$17.
It's not one of his best shots, but if he can drop this blue in, he'll land in behind a couple of reds.
So it looks
22.
very much as if O'Sullivan is going to lead 3-1 at the mid-session interval. I think the decisive factor over the last
23.
few frames has been O'Sullivan's tactical play. It has been superior to Murphy's, both defensively and creatively.
Yes, and we know how gifted a player he
29.
is, but he's had to work really hard to win these frames, actually.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 29 frames.
Sean Murphy took the opening frame with a break of 93, but it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who leads by 3 frames to 1 at the mid-session interval.
Early stages of this best of 19 frames final, and there's 5 frames left of this afternoon's session for Sean Murphy to get back on terms. So let's return to the arena where your commentators Alan McManus and Phil Yates are awaiting the players, and to reintroduce them, here's John McDonald.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Time to welcome back our finalists, Sean Murphy and Ronnie O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan 3-1 ahead. It could have easily been the other way around. And so Sean Murphy has got to try and dismiss the disappointments of the early stages of the match, forget them and get on with the job. Very easily said, not so easily done.
Frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. Please mind the sweets.
Jan Shears refereeing his first ever world ranking event final, admonishing someone for having a noisy sweetie paper, reminiscent of Len Ganley. That was his great dislike.
Yeah, so he can just about get through to this, Sean. He's not been on song in the long game so far, but that's better.
What?
Not only does he have the problem of facing Ronnie O'Sullivan in this final, he's now facing Ronnie O'Sullivan with a 2-frame lead, and we know what he's like as a front runner. 9 frames to be played in this opening session. Already Sean's looking to, well, I don't know if salvage is the right word, but he can't afford to be any worse than 5-4 behind going in tonight.
Full.
Very important 5 frames coming up.
Five.
Yeah, disappointing. 2 cracking res, but looks end of break. See, two cracking res, but just got a measly 5 points to show for it.
Sean Murphy 5.
Murphy has achieved 1 comeback win against O'Sullivan over the years. 5-4 it was, quarter-final of the German Masters 2015, from 4-2 down. But Allen, as usual, is absolutely smack on. One of the great front runners in the game, Ronnie, and when he goes ahead, normally he goes even more ahead.
Yeah, he's going to have a freedom, Ronnie. You'd think the rest of this session having that lead. 2-0 down to Ding, 2-0 down to Judd. Still prevailed.
Over the last 4 or 5 years, Ronnie O'Sullivan has been like a heavily fortified castle. Plenty of weapons before, and then all of a sudden he finds a new one. This ability to be able to grind things out on a regular basis, day after day, play the right shots and play great safety. And it's made him even more formidable. Well, a misjudgment there. Nothing goes.
Yeah, just looking at this, I would imagine he'll take this plant on, screw back to somewhere around the left middle pocket, try and play it some sort of shot to nothing. An awful lot else on, in all honesty. Probably worth playing. Don't see many plants with object balls about 4 feet apart from one another.
What a fluke. What a fluke. Especially with the other red going across the table and potentially being on for O'Sullivan. But it's not about what you fluke, it's about what you make from them.
Six. Seven.
Yeah, definitely valuing going into the pack here. The reds are not ideal at the moment. Oh, this is nice. Unfortunately, just covered the black to right
12.
corner, but he may play, in fact, play a little plant again. Happy to settle an easy red, build from there.
$13.
I'm always looking at the contrast between players, and Sean's making this break here. Next
15.
time we get a chance, watch him as he's walking around the table. His eyes rarely leave the bed. When we see Ronnie at the table, you'll see something different. As I say,
16.
when you see Sean in walkabout, his eyes are fixed.
The scale of his task at the moment is underlined by the changing odds on the match. Before the start, the sponsors offered 2-7 about O'Sullivan winning it, 5-2 Murphy. At the interval, those odds changed to 1-7 O'Sullivan, 9-2 Murphy.
Frames 2 and 3 this afternoon. Sean made some starts. Makes a 48 and 55, but he's got to do better than that against O'Sullivan. Let's see if he can be more decisive with this. Stephen always makes the point, doesn't he? You have to punish O'Sullivan by winning frames in one visit. He didn't do that before the break.
37. '38th.
See how he cues this one. Back out for the apex red of the three together. Lazy power.
45. '46.
This was a shot actually played well last night. Played it a few times. The high black, screwing two cushions. You see, the thing here is that when he plays this, Sean Murphy, he can almost play for a blue to left middle. Look at the cue ball. Blue to left middle. He actually played it even better than he probably had hoped.
53.
His mid-distance red, he just brushes them in. Great asset to have.
54.
And if he pots the black here, apart from it being frame ball, it would mean he's had the 3 highest breaks of the match so far.
'61. John Murphy, 61.
Well, it should be enough, but not quite guaranteed just yet.
One. Eight. Nine.
Yeah, 50 behind, so 7 points
16.
worth of snookers to peel. Just important he finishes nice on this next black. Pick his spot. Lay the snooker off the last red. That is clever. Get
17.
the pink back in its spot. In behind the red. It's virtually a guaranteed good snooker. Just about where he pushes this red.
Well, 2 aspects of this shot. One, he wants the best snooker possible, and if at all possible, he'd like to see a red go close to a colour to improve the chances of a free ball.
One more Sullivan. 23.
Sean going right side cushion first. No free ball this way.
The pink here might be providing a potting guide actually on the red.
1.
A few claps in the audience, but he didn't want that at all. Has to pot a high value colour. Oh.
Seven.
But now 36 behind, 27 on, needs 3 snookers.
Yeah, it's important he gives this everything here. I think mentally he'll only need 2 snookers, Ronnie. A 4-pointer and a 5-pointer should he get that far.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
See, players mentally, even although it's 9 points, the difference to Peel, they don't think that's 2 snookers, they think it's only 2. Yeah, good hit, Sean. So as I say, it's definitely worth Ronnie giving this his all. Try and get the first one.
The crowds this week at Venue Cymru have been a revelation. Fantastic. One of the best venues, not just in the UK, but anywhere in the world.
Two. Five.
I think, Alan, Sean will be very pleased with this frame, just what he needed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, 4-1 down, things would have been looking bleak.
No.
And although he's going to trail 3-2, he's actually scored more points in total than O'Sullivan.
And a frame.
Not going away, Sean Murphy. Determined to stick in there. And that's precisely what he did by winning frame 5. So O'Sullivan's lead is reduced. The Rocket now only 3-2. Back to North Wales and the Ladbrokes Players' Championship final. Now, that face might not be familiar, but the voice would be. That's John Gwynn, an absolute broadcasting legend in the world of darts. You've heard his voice countless times if you watch the Arrows.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of
Frame
meeting
6.
him for the first time earlier on.
Sean Murphy to
I
break.
didn't recognise him, but the minute he started speaking to me, I knew exactly who it was. Lovely man.
So who will hit the bullseye in frame 6? Just to confirm what I said right at the end of frame 5, Sean Murphy has actually scored more points, even though he's behind, than O'Sullivan. Those kind of things do happen occasionally. When Ken Doherty beat Stephen Hendry 18-12 in the final of the 1997 World Championship. Hendry, even though he was heavily beaten, actually scored more points in the match.
Now a little half chance on this red. Only thing in playing it, if he plays short of the baulk colours and misses it, the red's liable to stay near the corner. So what way does he play it? Yeah. Played it that way, but has he got the hold? Yeah, just about. Good shot. Good confident shot. Side cushion, side cushion. Couple of reds below the cluster. Played this nicely. Maybe even bring other reds into play potting this.
4. 5.
Smashing shot, even to the extent that the cue ball checked off the side cushion.
$12. 13. 20. 21.
Oh, I'll be absolutely livid with that shot. Trying to stun through the gap. Got into the cue ball far too much. The way the reds are, the way that break was developing, all right, it was early doors, but a golden chance he's passed up.
Yeah, it wasn't even marginal, was it? That was a real gross misjudgment.
Yeah, that was a stinker.
John Murphy, 21.
At least he's not left the red to the middle. I don't know how much chance of Ronnie getting in behind this pink. It's all about what he can do with the red. Yeah, he was able to get the red down this end, not quite getting the nestle in behind it. But Sean Murphy created a problem of his own making here. That's a good shot. That is a good shot, and he's covered the right half of the pack as well. Yeah. On the table, fully merited. I think Ronnie can play this half ball with pace though, this red. Watch the pink. Might be able to spin this off 4 cushions behind the pink. Yeah, the in off looks close.
Foul. John Murphy, 4.
Just caught it a hair thin. That was all that was wrong with that. we going to get here? Is it deep screw? We know he possesses the cue power. Yeah, topped it through. Unfortunately not on the pink. Stretch on the yellow. I'm not sure if Sean Murphy actually carries a mini, but I think he does. I'm attempting it. Probably too much of a stretch with that shoulder problem, but awesome with the rest. That is a beauty.
Yes, not needed it a great deal so far in this match. That's his third attempted pot with the rest. Of course, his third successful pot. In my opinion, he is the best player, not just in the game at the moment with the rest, but ever.
Yeah, power this red in. Side cushion again. Oh, you can't miss that. That's two.
Sean Murphy,
For a player of Sean Murphy's class, that's two bad errors in this frame. He has to cut that out if he's going to win this match. Probably come round now, Sean, to just look at the possibilities of playing for the black. Yep, mind made up already. This will be power again. Back up, hopefully for pink. Oh, great shot. That is a beauty again. Chance number 3.
Round ball.
It's not something you say all that often at this level. These two fellas.
5. Six.
I'll tell you how well Sean Murphy has played this season. Bear in mind he's missed the last couple of events because of those shoulder and neck problems. If he wins today, it will be
13.
guaranteed his most lucrative season as a professional. And bear in mind, he won the World Championship in 2005. So this campaign has been really fruitful.
$21. $22.
Yeah. Gross misjudgment there. But the wrong side of the pocket, and at that pace, cue ball's taken a completely alien path. Reiterate, this is the third good chance he's had in this frame, and he can't refuse the pink. No, my mistake. Played the safety, rightly so. Good 50-point lead.
Sean Murphy,
I just
22.
thought he was going to be tempted again there to push the boat out, Sean Murphy. Has to put these chances away. They're not going to keep coming.
Yes, and in the consciousness of both players is the fact that O'Sullivan's already stolen 2 frames from well behind. The second on the pink, the third on the black. And although the deficit is 50, 75 points remain.
One.
And like all great champions, O'Sullivan relishes the possibility of a clearance, because he knows these are the frames that are doubly painful for the opponent.
5. Six.
Oh, that was a gorgeous shot. That was an absolute gem of a shot. It didn't look much, but to clear the black spot and land where he has. It is again. Didn't look an awful lot, but the judgment of the cannon and the line
13.
was exquisite.
14.
He's so good in these situations, you tend to look ahead and think about potential problems. Obviously, green being so close to blue would be one of those, maybe.
21.
And the pink's not ideal either. But if he gets
22.
that far, at least he wouldn't have to play for the black. The pink would be enough.
Yeah, a little half
29.
shake of the head, because this is critical now. Straight or higher straight in the black. Yeah, it's gone wrong.
30.
It's gone wrong. So he's going to have to settle for playing the snooker in behind the black off this. Tried as best he could to check it back. Couldn't have done much better.
37.
Big shot now. Which way does he play it? Is it dead weight to give it every chance? Oh, what a shot again.
38.
Just breezed it home.
$45.
Oh, dearie me. Talk about exquisite
47.
earlier on in this break. That was awesome. Look at this cannon.
50.
Didn't make it as a snooker player. He certainly would have made it as a cat burglar. What a steal this will be.
54.
Remember, just blue and pink will do.
$59.
Springy bounce there, actually. Left him just stretching a little, but it did not matter. This afternoon already, 3 steals for Ronnie O'Sullivan. 3 cheers for Ronnie O'Sullivan, because the last of them was absolutely superb. Sean Murphy had 3 chances, and in the end, though, he lost the frame. O'Sullivan's lead expands to 4-2. What a clearance! Ronnie O'Sullivan sitting there, no doubt feeling pretty content with the way that he plundered frame 6. 4-2 ahead. He might well be 5-1 down. If you're just joining us, he won the second frame with a 54 clearance to the pink. He won the third frame on the black with a 50 clearance. And there a 65 clearance to pink again. And that was the pick of the bunch for me.
Another loose one. Yeah, we mentioned, didn't we, that during that last frame, Sean Murphy, 3 good chances, gilt-edged chances. He squandered.
1.
And it's amazing when a player wins a frame of that nature. So often they get right in the next frame as well.
Yeah, almost a double whammy. Double punishment.
9.
It's things like that clearance in the last frame with Sullivan.
16.
Almost sparks him into life. So it just raises his senses.
17.
Starts getting ultra creative in these kind of positions. Is he going to rip them here? He is. Might have a red to left
22.
middle. Definitely has one to far corner. Also one to far right corner. Yeah, playing it in the middle. He's just worried about the cannon. And the red.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 22.
Doesn't need to be too hard on himself. That was high tariff. Same thing applied there, but it's the kind of shot that Murphy needs. He needs to reassert himself. Joe Hart's in that pocket. Just for a sense of balance, David De Gea is in the other.
Yeah, there's a long pot success. Something that Sean's going to have to brush up on. 45%. Expect better from him. Yeah, those are tough. At that angle, at that pace. So, and Sean, another chance. What with a nice couple of reds like this already in the match. Fancy him for this. Yeah, sometimes you see in that shot well. You just get the feeling he's going to pop that. Not a cast iron chance to win the frame, far from it. But again, I'll keep labouring the point, but he has to make these chances count.
Six. Seven.
Couldn't get on the black. Had to settle for playing around for the piggy in the middle, and that looks pretty good. Right at the bottom of the four will go.
13. $14.
Oh, Sean, no, no, no.
Sean Murphy, 14.
That could be one of the most telling shots of the entire contest. No excuses.
1.
Yeah, here it is again. No excuses for that. That is an absolute sitter. Sean Murphy. Worrying times right now.
Four. Five. Seven. Eight.
Yeah, be pleased with that because he can now play for the red behind the black spot. 3 cushions. This is a basic shot for a professional. There you go. 1. 2-3 and a soft bounce. He didn't quite get it though. He wanted that to be just about straight. That was a poor shot actually.
11.
Oh, that is sweet as a bun. That was an absolute gorgeous shot. Look at the control. Top side of the blue, absolutely plumb on it. It means that he can play the cannon here with not a lot of pace and a little triangle of balls. Any contact, they're going to spread. Oh, I'm surprised he played it so hard. I'm not criticising him. He's actually very unlucky.
17.
He played that 100 times and not hit that red full ball.
Well,
it was a shot to nothing
17.
double. I think born out of frustration. But by playing it and missing it, he's actually given the tactical advantage at the very least to Murphy.
Advantage. He's given up immediately. Pushing a red towards the baulk cushion. Not get any cue ball pressure on O'Sullivan either.
Yes, the balls he's missed, particularly the ping to the middle pocket and that sloppy safety there, suggests that Murphy still suffering from what happened in the previous frame.
Playing this shot now, Sean, in behind the black, but don't get too preoccupied with trying to get behind the black. Try and find the black cushion. You see, when you're trying to chase in behind the black...
Foul.
No, that's good from Sean. That was a push shot and he declared it. Won't make any massive difference apart from the 4 points, because he's definitely not going to ask Sean to play again. But just playing that shot, as I say, sometimes you're concentrating too much and getting behind the black. Just try and dike the cue ball, as we say in Scotland. Oh, what a shot. But you have to say at the moment, Sean Murphy is inviting his own problems.
Three. Four.
Yeah, 33, black 40, so 2 more reds.
We've got someone sitting there in the studio who used to love these kind of situations in his heyday, Stephen Hendry. When he detected any weakness in an opponent, he'd be in there making hay, drubbing people, demoralising them.
$15.
This red to be sure.
16.
And it's looking like objective number 1 is going to be secured here. Win the session. Now just a question of how big the lead is going to be.
19. 20.
Well, Jan Shears, the referee, was a very good sprinter in his youth. One of Belgium's finest, but he detained O'Sullivan for a short time on that last red.
22.
There he is, a man who's also represented Belgium, by the way, in the World Sudoku Championship
24.
in Prague in 2007.
Talking about Sean earlier when he's in the balls playing eyes on the bed. Watch Ronnie walking round the table. If we get a chance, he
31.
almost like a peacock, looks at the crowd, looks around, almost saying, what do you think of this? I don't see enough
36.
of it now, but something to look at maybe in the next frame or two. But he now is in complete control
42.
of this final.
O'Sullivan's end game in this final has been far, far superior to that of Sean Murphy. And now he is halfway to ending the tournament as the champion. Halfway to victory. He leads Sean Murphy by 5 frames to 2. He's guaranteed to be in front going into tonight.
Frame 8. Sean Murphy to break.
We're into the meat of the final of the Ladbrokes Players' Championship of 2018. Breaking off this season's Champion of Champions winner, Sean Murphy, but he trails Ronnie O'Sullivan 5-2. O'Sullivan needs 5 more frames today, not only to beat that man, but to equal the all-time record for most ranking tournaments won in a single season, jointly held by Stephen Hendry, Ding Junhui, Mark Selby.
And there's your striper. What a dig, just didn't quite get hold of the cue ball. Love that noise. Leather.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
The sort of shot you want to believe in, Ronnie. After that crunching last red. Yeah, more leather.
What?
You just sensed that was in before he played it, didn't you? Getting a grip of this final now.
Six.
Contact on the yellow was unintended. Hence another difficult pot coming up.
Oh, by James.
7.
He played this too. He's played that to the inch.
11.
Chance now, bring the black into play.
$12.
He's definitely not at the absolute peak of his powers today, or in fact this week, Ronnie O'Sullivan. But he seems to make things happen, even when not at his best.
17.
His cue ball's definitely not overall as good as it normally is. That's why
18.
his highest break so far, just 65.
And that just goes to prove how patient he's become, because normally that would get really under his skin. Total package now.
23.
An absolute winning juggernaut.
24. 31. 32. 39. 40. 47. 48.
'It's all happening now.
55.
You could say that was a little bit lucky, but generally speaking, going into the balls this afternoon, he's not had the best of fortune, so it was overdue.
$56.
'Oh, he's on the red.
61.
You could stand there from here to eternity and never do that again. Find the gap on the way down and the way back. Unbelievable.
That's a magic trick that Dynamo wouldn't attempt.
$62.
Just the extra pace on the cue ball. Not ideal on the black, but he's pretty much home and dry. Certainly is now.
$69. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 69 in the frame.
Murphy concedes. O'Sullivan makes a break of 69, his highest of the afternoon, and this is now looking really ominous for Shaun Murphy. The reason for that, O'Sullivan seemingly in total command. He's in front by 6 frames to 2. One more to be played. Players' Championship trophy, sitting around 20 feet away from Shaun Murphy, but it must seem at the moment as though it's a million miles away.
Thank you. The final frame of the session. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
But as a famous philosopher once said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one small step. Murphy has to win this frame and then regroup before this evening. oohs and ahs there. Very close. He cued it well, actually.
That was deliberate, but it was clever. He's almost offering Sean the left side of the pack, saying go on, try and find a return. Shouldn't get the double kiss here as long as he sends the red down straight enough. Oh, he's waiting for the pot. What a pot! The shot of the match. Now, can he salvage something out of this opening session?
Eight. Nine. 16. 17.
'The overall standard of break building in this tournament has been fantastic.
24.
We've had 27 centuries, one more than we had at the World Grand Prix in Preston last month,
25.
where there were more than double the matches. What Murphy needs here is a sizable contribution, not just to win the frame, but to boost confidence.
$32. 33. 40. 41.
Yeah, so the big shot, the red nearest the blue is the one full in the face. Nice and deep on the cue ball. Oh, lovely. Okay, the black's gone.
46.
Tied up, but he's deep enough into the frame where you'd expect him to. He knocks this red in, gets nice on the blue, be able to peel off enough to win the frame at this visit, at least salvage something in the session. All's not lost in this frame. I know it's obviously it goes without saying they'd be coming out tonight and trying to win 3 of the first 4 frames.
$49. 50.
Just thinking back to that opening red. If ever there's a frame that illustrated the modern game, it's this one. Little safety shot that Ronnie played, trying to trap Sean into trouble. He's been sitting in his chair ever since. Considering he's 6-2 down, and you could argue could be in front. This is top stuff from Sean Murphy.
Couldn't agree more,
52.
Alan, and another aspect of the modern game which is tip-top, rest play. Between them, they've taken on 13 pots with the rest, and they've potted all 13.
You're now going to get a demonstration of cue power. For blue, above all, get the pot. Oh, lovely.
53.
Lovely shot. That was exceedingly dinky.
'58. 59.
What character he's shown here, Sean Murphy.
Well, both will go into the break, I think,
64.
with something to cling on to. Not a frame that will
65.
hurt O'Sullivan, because he did nothing wrong, played a good safety, and as Alan said, he's just sat there ever since. But Murphy's resilience in the eye of a storm,
70.
very impressive.
'71.
If there are any prizes going this week for break of the week, you're seeing it right here. Great resilience, resolve.
76.
And refusal to just lay down
77.
and die in this match. Great stuff.
A pity it didn't develop into a century. But nevertheless, Sean Murphy finishes off the afternoon on a high. Generally, though, the man in command is most certainly Ronnie O'Sullivan, who leads by 6 frames to 3.
Yeah, Sean Murphy is certainly not going to gift this final to Ronnie O'Sullivan. A good finish there as they go into the interval.